following podcast is brought to you by Astro Panda Productions. For more information or to find other great shows, visit astropandaproductions.com or visit the Astro Panda Productions page on blogtalkradio.com.
Hello and welcome back to the Pop Collectors Alliance podcast, episode 15. I guess we all have to grow up someday. And as always, I'm Rick, your host, joined by my co-host, Captain Strongbeard, Mr. Piper.
Today is like literally the saddest day of my entire life.
It's been a sad week. We can just say that.
It is.
For sure.
It's tough, man. It's just a tough life.
This is the only podcast on the internet dedicated to returning collecting to the pop collector. And as always, you are entering the no flip zone. And as I said in the live broadcast when we were waiting for Dr. Ian Malcolm, I went to Toys R Us last week and someone denied that the store was closing. And I just made sure I drove back and said, "Oh, hey, how's that going for you?"
I just wanted to remind you that you were wrong, lady.
No, I did not do that, but it is a very sad day. I did go into Toys R Us, and I sent Piper a couple pictures from the Toys R Us locations in our area, the Dallas-Fort Worth area, and it is a madhouse here. People are ripping things off the shelf. They are buying anything and everything they can that has a Toys R Us exclusive sticker on it, hoping that, I guess, it'll go up in value. KB Toys, I know some people that did that too, but they're just trashing the stores. And it's unfortunate for employees to have to deal with something like that when they have maybe 30 days to work. But we'll get to that all in a minute. We start out every week with our weekly pickups. And last week I said, where do I begin? And this week I say, where do I begin? Again. Because I loaded up with pickups this week. It was spring break for the kids down here. So I was out and about on travels and got a couple of things this week. I'm not going to get to everything because I am going to do a live unboxing / pickups video this weekend. So you should hear more from me on that. So I'll just cover the high notes. I got the glow-in-the-dark Hades, not the Chase. I'm still debating on whether or not getting off of here and then going and waiting for it, which I probably won't do. So hats off.
Don't do it. Don't fall for the trick.
6 hours is not good enough for one pop. You know, it's just maybe if I'm waiting for the Funko line, I could justify it, but one single pop, not going to happen. But I really want that red variant of Hades. So anyways, I passed.
You know, man, I really think it's the price is going to go down on that because they're crazy right now. Like I feel like going like $80 on eBay right now. I think that the hysteria will die down once more of these come out because we haven't even got them in our area yet. So once everything settles, I think it will be obtainable. It's just it's a waiting game at this point.
I have to teach myself that patience is key in these scenarios. I also got Game of Thrones, and then today more Game of Thrones. I got Yondu in the mail, the Captain Crunch vinyl from a couple weeks ago actually on the Funko Shop. I finally came in today. I got extra grails for the Patreon boxes and much, much more. And like I said, I'll get to that this weekend when I do my unboxing / weekly pickups video. What about you, Piper?
I'm one of those crazy people that went to Toys R Us and bought everything with a Toys R Us sticker on it. I wasn't a jerk, though. I wasn't a jerk about it. I didn't push people over. I didn't break grandma's hip. But I did get a lot of the stuff that I've been meaning to pick up from Toys R Us. I felt like it was a good time. It was actually, I picked up the stuff right before they made the official announcement of the closing. So, I got the Mickey Mouse 2-pack and all of the Teen Titans Go ones that I was missing, like all the different Ravens and stuff like that. And then I picked up a few WWE pops. I got Eva Marie and someone else. I forgot who it was. I don't know.
Shinsuke Nakamura. No, I'm just joking.
No, it wasn't Nakamura. My brain, dude. I'm tired. It's late. It's been one of those weeks. I got all that stuff. I went by Barnes and Noble, and Barnes and Noble was having a super duper get everything out of our store clearance, like $2 on a ton of pops. So I picked up a few that I've been kind of holding off on. I picked up a few Dorbs too, like the Ghost Rider Dorb. So I got that, and then I went by a Hot Topic, and I got a couple of mystery minis. So nothing really big, but my one really two items I'm really, really excited about was my order from the pop-up shop from Emerald City came in. So I got my 2-pack of Scott Pilgrim. That it was the 4,000 piece.
Yeah, Ramona Flowers and Gideon, whatever.
Gideon Jim Jam. I got that one, and then I also got the that's his name, right?
Gideon Jim Jam. Exactly. You nailed it, dude. You didn't even have to think about it. You nailed it.
It was right on the tip of my tongue. And then I also got the Dorbs 2-pack with Crypto and Ace. Because Dorbs, I got to support my Dorbs community. So I got those in, and then also my Cobalt Mercy came in from Overwatch, and anybody knows that's one of my like core collections. It's WWE, Overwatch, and Blizzard. Those are my 3 big ones, and I'm so excited. That Cobalt Mercy looks so good.
Yeah, I was surprised how good it came out, and I like the fact that they encased her in the insert, so she's covered on the front and back. So I like that. There's no way that she can fall out, and they've been doing that. The old times, you'd see them fall out, and then they'd scuff the plastic. So I'm glad I'm seeing them do that more and more now. It's something that I've wanted for a long time, and they're actually doing it. So that's a good thing.
I guess they're tired of things like snapping inside the case. Somebody posted today. It was from the Jurassic Park, one of the dinosaurs. The leg just like snapped off because it's like it doesn't look like it's supported very well in there. And the same thing, they had the issues with the big old ginormous Hulk at Target.
Yeah, and the hammer.
The hammer breaking. So maybe Funko's kind of like thinking about it a little more. They're like, maybe we should protect these.
Yeah, put an extra 3 cents in there, and yeah, we save ourselves in the long run. And then Target, man, Target is coming out with all kinds of 10-inch pops. If there's a pop they want to make 10 inches, they're going to make it. I mean, what do they got? Dobby is coming out, and Target exclusive variant, and then also the Thanos, that's the 10-inch pop, and then the 10-inch Porg that's going to come out that I can't wait to buy and just do photo setups of. That's what I'm waiting for.
We're gonna buy one of those and just destroy it, right?
I'm going to buy it, and I'm going to take hundreds of pictures with it, and I'm going to purchase probably, I would say, plus or minus 25 porgs to put around it, and just have this whole like cult following where they're worshiping the big porg, and it's their leader. Oh man,
the mother porg. I accept this, and I will support you, and I will help you get some of your porgs on the condition that at the end that they're just gonna die, and we get to like blow them up with some fireworks or a truck or something. They cannot survive.
The porgs, they have to die. It's so unfair to the.
They must
porgs.
meet their end. Yeah, dude, well, it's. You said you wanted to like it, like it's a cult, and every good cult comes to an end.
Yes, so they drink the Kool-Aid.
Their end is coming. Instead of Flavor Aid, their end will come with Roman candles and a car tire.
And gasoline. Gasoline will be their Kool-Aid.
So gasoline first, and then Roman candles, and then we get to run over it with a car.
Exactly. There you go. So
good. I'm glad that we've come to an agreement.
And everybody can enjoy the outcome of what that is. One flaming pile of 5 pounds worth of molten vinyl.
What used to be angry squirrel dogs.
Yes, squirrel dog puppet things. I have no idea what those things are. So let me get the announcements out of the way this week. As you guys all know, the next live Cost Plus shipping event will be the 24th of March at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And the theme is Animation Domination. So tune in to that next weekend. Also, we have a live pop swap that's coming up. I need to get the details ironed out on this because it's crucial. It is rapidly approaching. I'm hoping to get it done in April, but with Fan Expo Dallas, the next thing I'm going to talk about, It's hard to cram everything into 1 month. Anyways, Fan Expo Dallas is April 6th through the 8th. We are going to have a booth there. We'll have some grails out. We'll have what our Patreon boxes will look like, so you get a good view of that in person. We'll also have t-shirts and just talking about anything and everything Funko. Stop by, and we'll be doing giveaways and various things that weekend. So stop by and see us at Fan Expo Dallas, April 6th through 8th, if you're in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Also, shout out to all of our Patreon. Next week, we're going to start the Novice Series, so we're going to give shout outs to our Patreons there. We've promised to do that. We're going to do that starting next week. But a big shout out to you guys. You know who you are right now, and we really appreciate everything that you've done for us at this point. And your boxes will be out this month, so look forward to that. And t-shirts are going to be out next week, I think, right?
Yep. Actually, t-shirts will start to be printed tomorrow.
There you go. So you should be getting those within the next week or so. And then the last announcement is a special code. I said it last week. I'm going to say it this week. For our listener-only drawing, we've got a lot of takers this time, a lot of people that have chances compared to last time. So congratulations. You need to email us at info@popcollectorsalliance.com with the code Goku and your name. You can put, I don't know, in the subject matter box, special code or something, and then Goku and your name, and we'll mark you down and have that drawing ready to go. We'll do it first thing off the bat in Cost Plus Shipping next time. So again, your special code is Goku. Email us at info@popcollectorsalliance.com and you will be entered to win. I said last week, we are going to get started on the Novice Series. It will not be this week. We're pulling everything together for that because there's a lot of stuff going on in the background. But next week begins the Novice Series, and the title of, I guess, our focus point on the first episode of the Novice Series will be How to Price Your Pop. And what we're going to get to in today's episode in our discussions fits perfectly into that. It's a great lead in. So next week, Novice, How to Price Your Pop. It's a series that's based on getting both, I would say, experienced collectors to a refresher, or maybe some pointers that you don't know about already. And of course, beginner collectors, how to step up your game and answer some of the questions you may or may not have. And I would put this out there, since we're going to cover pricing your pop. If you guys want to, email us a question that you may have, or message us on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. You can email us info@popcollectorsalliance.com. Go to Facebook and facebook.com/popcollectorsalliance, and then just message us directly there with a question that you would like to be answered in that Novice Series, How to Price Your Pop. That gives us a better idea so we can expand on the topic as well. As I talked about last week, and the week before last, and the week before last, and the week before the last, it seems like we've said the words ECCC and Toys R Us for more than 50% of the episodes that we've put out. But you know what?
Like, that's all we talk about.
I know. I was thinking before I did this episode, I was like, I have to cover Toys R Us. This is monumental, not only for Funko, but for toys and collectibles in general. It's the end of an era and the last true toy store in America. And it's so sad, but I said, I got to do it. I got to put Toys R Us in there again. So we didn't put Toys R Us in the title, but the title is, I guess we all have to grow up someday. And Toys R Us has announced Chapter 7 bankruptcy. They are liquidating everything, all 800 stores. There was some back and forth about a Canadian investor buying operations in Canada, and maybe that's still the case, and keeping some stores open here in the US of A, but I don't think that is going to be the case. I think Toys R Us is done done, or DED, as we say in the industry, dead.
I don't even like talking about it.
You're all hurt.
I am. My innards. I'm feeling it inside my body.
I was on some website the other day looking at a story, and I love to read the comments because the comments are always colorful, right? And people say some outrageous stuff they would never say in person because they're hiding behind the plastic wall of their computer screen. So
good old keyboard warriors.
Yes, exactly. So they're trolling, and there was somebody on there, and they were talking about, I'm glad Toys R Us is closing because that's capitalism at its worst. Teaching children from a young age they have to shop for things. And I and I just go, you know what? Of all of the stances to take that stance, I get that, you might be upset because of capitalism and teaching people to shop for things, but still, I mean, it was such a great place to go when I was a kid. I would always get excited when I was going to Toys R Us, and there wasn't many Toys R Us in our area, and our Toys R Us closed when I was maybe 13 and it moved to a bigger area. But just that, the memory in general of going to Toys R Us and then what that is now. And I pass it on with my kids. My kids like to go there if they were picking up Pokemon cards, or we were looking for Lego minifigures, or we're looking for Pop and hunting Pop. And that's all gone now.
It's, I think that what Toys R Us was for us, for our parents, that was Sears. Because you'd have that big giant catalog that would come in the mail a couple times a year, and you get super excited, and you get to sit down and you get your big old Crayola marker, and you get to circle all the things that you really wanted and stuff you didn't even know existed. It was just a neat kind of experience. And even as an adult, I used to, I've always loved toy stores. I worked at KB Toys for a long time. I say a long time. It was not a long time, but I worked at KB Toys as a store manager for a while, and then it's just toy stores have always had like a really special place for me, because it kind of like it's that little bit of time that you get to go and relive kind of just like being a kid. And even after having my own kid, that was the place that her and I bonded, was that we could go down these aisles and look at all these different toys, and I could see stuff, that I'd never seen before, and get to play with the stuff. And same with her, just to see her light up. It was really a awesome experience. And, you can't sit there with your kid and look through Amazon, look at all the toys on Amazon or wherever. Just, you're not going to have that anymore. So it's definitely hard for me. Like, all joking aside, it was a real special place for me, and it's definitely a disappointment that there's not going to be anything like that anymore. There are no more brick and mortar toy stores that I'm aware of. As far as I know, every other store is gone, and there's going to be a few like boutique toy stores you'll find here and there, but it's that same experience does not exist anymore.
Yeah, my kid said the other day when we were going there and I was talking about it closing, he's like, is this going to be like the movie WALL-E? Is it by and large? Is Amazon by and large? Is that what that is? Is that what it's turning to? And I'm not going to be the first one to turn it political, but it's hard to see a world that doesn't move in this direction, right? There's going to be brick and mortar stores. You're going to have Walmart, but man, it's just like the brands keep on shrinking and shrinking and shrinking. And one place owns another place, and another place owns that place, and they all follow the same thing. I mean, the movie industry is the same way, with Disney now owning Marvel, and they own, of course, they have their Disney movies, and then they own, what's the other thing that they own? Marvel, Disney, and Star Wars. So you've got these iconic brands under Univista or whatever Disney, their movie company calls themselves, but it's just becoming this small subset of companies that own everything. And it just takes the joy out of an experience, right? Because now it's just like you're sitting in your living room, looking on an iPad, zoned out, and just buying things. And that's what I miss the most, or going to miss the most about Toys R Us, is that now I have to go to Target or Walmart to shop in a small subset of a toy section that doesn't have the greatest selection, that can't be counted on to have things in stock. And Toys R Us was not all that anyways, don't get me wrong, but still, the sheer selection that they had at stores and things that you could see there that you couldn't see elsewhere, that they're not going to experience anymore. And I feel even worse for the employees, because not only are they all losing their jobs, but they're all having to deal with people coming in every day. Hey man, when your store closing? You're still closing? When them sales going up? When them sales going up? And now people are here, at least in this area, are just piling things into carts, throwing things on the floor, probably stealing stuff, which they might not even care about. But
I think at the point where you're losing your job and you don't have numbers to meet anymore, you're probably not going to care about a whole lot. Well, first off, you're probably not going to care about stocking those shelves and making sure that all the items are fronted. And you definitely don't care if somebody's going to walk out with a shopping cart full of, I don't know, anything.
Yeah, farewell, Aragorn. Exclusive Toys
Yeah.
R Us pop.
No, dude, we're still gonna get it. It's probably gonna go on Funko Shop, just like the flocked Jeffrey.
Yeah, we
It
only
will.
have to pay $21.65 for it. Oh man,
Yeah, instead
that
of
is steal.
$9.99. Yeah, I know.
Steal.
But yeah, okay, so I've been looking into this a little bit, and Amazon and the other online retailers, they're not completely to blame because Toys R Us, they did make money. They were making money, and yes, they did overcharge on a lot of stuff, and they were kind of mismanaged. But Amazon is not the only culprit here. So just kind of doing a little bit of looking around, a lot of the blame has to do with the fact that they were purchased or they were sold to a private equity firm that mismanaged the company greatly and dug them in an even deeper hole. So I mean, there's not one kind of a bad guy here. There's a lot of different bad guys from different angles, and it was something I think that we all saw coming from, I don't want to say a mile away, but we knew something bad was going to happen. Either they were going to end up closing or they were going to end up downsizing severely. And unfortunately, this is the path that they had to take. They didn't really have another option, and that's really it beats me up inside just because we are losing something that's really kind of big.
I think at the end of the day, with Toys R Us, a lot of companies that are facing that same, they're looking down the barrel of that gun. And it's not just Toys R Us, man. It's the larger retail market for items. If you see that, I mean, think GameStop, they're all looking down the barrel of that gun on trying to find ways to, I wouldn't say inspire, but energize customers to come into stores and to buy things. And the big point in all this is that Funko collectors like us, we like the hunt. We like that aspect of going out and searching for things. And even lately, that's become overwhelmingly difficult because of a combination of things moving to online sales, right? More and more stuff is being put online. A lot of stores don't want to carry that inventory. They don't have that much shelf space. So it's being diverted to the internet. And it's just like, man, I like the aspect of the hunt. And losing Toys R Us from that degrades my experience as a hunter. And for that matter, anyone else who comes with me or people in the community. So I would say farewell, Toys R Us. And let that be a lesson to everyone else is that you're not immune to this. You're not immune to failing at this level so much that you're wiped from the face of the earth, pretty much. Scorched earth done and over with. And you've got to communicate with the community. And I don't think Toys R Us did a great job of that. Now, that's whether that's corporate leadership or who's to blame for that. They weren't taking a lot of customers' inputs. And maybe a lot of that was because they didn't have the money to invest. And a lot of companies get bought out by firms that just want to make a quick dollar on it, turn out, spit it out. And unfortunately for Toys R Us, it happened. But my heart goes out to all the employees out there. I hope that you guys are able to reestablish life after this. I know it's difficult. And try not to punch people in the face when they're throwing things on the floor. Pop price guide. I got to get onto this.
What does that mean?
Pop price guide. What does that mean? I think a lot about pop price guide, and I always try to straddle the fence here. I don't like to take sides, whether it's a good or a bad thing. And I'm going to take an approach this week with that as well. I want people to know how Pop Price Guide can influence the community, how Pop Price Guide ties into other items, and it'll tie into the discussion and sort of the topic of next week's Novice Series in pricing your pop. So a lot of people are on the fence about Pop Price Guide, Popspedia, whoever provides a price tracker for the value of pop. So Pop Price Guide started on the basis of helping out the community, continues to do that. That's their main goal. And they're comprised mainly of volunteers to do their admin work. That's loading prices, updating prices, fixing errors that were in the system, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But as of late, you may have noticed that there's been a steady decline in their ability to update pricing. And there was a couple of Facebook posts and tweets. Were they tweets or just Facebook posts?
Only thing I saw was the Facebook posts, but there could have been tweeters regarding the same thing.
So there was one from John who ran Pop Price Guide before it was sold out and walked away from it. And then there was another one from an admin. So I'm going to take time to read this. As you may or may not know, I was an admin for Pop Price Guide for a couple of years. I officially had to walk away from full-time duties about 6 months ago due to life and stuff. I can't read. Anyways, shortly after, the guy who owned it, John, whom I had become friends with, sold it to Hobby Database in the hopes the big name and resources would help take the site to a new level. However, since the site has slowly gone from bad to worse, as a longtime advocate and volunteer, it pains me to tell you this, but as my friends and fellow local collectors, you should know the site has over 100K backed up listings. So that's backlogged. A number 3 times bigger than any we ever had when I was doing them. A task that would take 25 people a month to clear without new listings being added, let alone a handful of people they have now. As of today, most values are literally a month and a half behind what they should be. That being said, this is not a bitter or slanderous post anyway, just a warning. I'm confused and I'm not sure what to make of the new admin team that is scrambling to figure out what listings are and has yet to ask for new volunteers to show much concern. That's basically, you get this. It says, I will say, as I always have, use eBay sold listings sorted, most recent first, to get an actual real-time value of a pop. Please, if you feel the need to share this info with the big groups, I ask you to keep my name out of it, blah, 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 blah. So there you go. It basically says use eBay, and there are 100,000 backlogged in their system. Now, what does this mean? What we as pop collectors, what does this do to us, right? So I like to say you're in the no flip zone. But what does that mean when it comes to Pop Price Guide? What does that mean for collectors? So to just touch on it, what that should mean to you is this, is that don't take Pop Price Guide right now as your value. Use eBay.
It's not your Bible.
Exactly. And what does this do to you? What's the effect of this? And here's a prime example. And I use this with the Spider-Man because those are the things that I know the most of because I have them. And the value fluctuates irregularly for an item that's sold very rarely. Okay. What does this mean for the value of a pop? And how detrimental can erroneous, terrible data affect the pricing market? And in the industry that I work in, we say bad data in, bad data out. So that's basically the result of what's going on. You're getting bad data in, you're getting bad data out. But the difference in my industry to this industry is that the result of that bad data creates additional bad data that goes back in and it loops into the system, and it's terrible. So here's an example with Spider-Man. So with the Spider-Man San Diego Comic-Con 2012 edition, it's the Amazing Spider-Man Metallic that was released at San Diego Comic-Con. Its value right now is around $600, right? Well, there's another variant of that pop that looks eerily similar to it. It doesn't have the golden eyes, I think, or it's just not metallic. And it's worth maybe $50. And you'll see sales that they come in and they feed this data in. They say, oh, we sold one for $48. They erroneously add that to that bucket and it drops the price from $648 to like $450. Well, if somebody's going to list an item on eBay at that moment and they want to compare that price and they don't, and I know a lot of people, let me give a disclaimer. I know a lot of people that don't click that listing of a pop and scroll down to that additional, what are things selling at and what are the items? They don't care about that. They just say, oh, it's $450 on Pop Price Guide. I'll put it up. Look at those listings and make sure that it's the right pop that's in there because your data will get skewed. And what they've done is they just say, oh, I'm just taking $450. And they put that pop up for $450 and it sells. What has that done? That has now shifted the baseline for that pop to $450 because if you sell it at $450, And it is that pop. That data is good data, but it's been pushed in from bad data and it creates a new baseline. Now, why should you care about this? Well, for one, if you're somebody like me that have purchased expensive pop that you want to trade now and you regret getting because you want Game of Thrones and everything in your life is being consumed by this pursuit, then you don't want bad data. And you don't want these erroneous amounts being put in there. And Pop Price Guide, one thing that they've done with these items that don't sell as much, the way that they build their data is based on 30-day most recent sales, because that the price fluctuates on these grails, these super holy mega grails that are like $400 and more. It could jump $300. I mean, you could have a headless Ned Stark situation where it's selling for $500. Can't believe I didn't buy it. And then it just bounces up to like $1,200. But a pop is worth the price that someone is willing to pay, right? And someone is willing to pay a price that Pop Price Guide or Popspedia says it is. That's the little extra tagline that people don't get. And what do you think about it, Piper? I mean, where do you come in on this?
It can be incredibly detrimental to a market, but at the same time, people need to educate themselves. They need to learn the appropriate way to go about pricing their own pop. You should not put all of your weight on one resource or even two resources. These are just going to be suggestions, and they need to be taken that way. And I agree with you. It does all come down to what is someone willing to pay, because that's all. Value is very personal. It honestly is. And it comes down to what is somebody willing to pay. And people treat Pop Price Guide as the end all be all. I can't tell you how many times I've seen just the giant arguments and people getting kicked out and banned from groups because either they're not following Pop Price Guide, or they're pricing way outside of it, or all these excuses. And people just, they don't. Not everybody, obviously not everybody, but a lot of people, they don't understand that, one, there's errors. There's going to be errors, especially now with the amount of content that's backlogged on Pop Price Guide. But just in general, even months ago, when everything was caught up and up to date, you were still going to get errors because there is human touch. So people need to take responsibility. They need to educate themselves. And they need to do their due diligence if they want to go about either buying through, from a random person in a Facebook group or on eBay. It's very important that you educate yourself.
Yeah, and tying into those latest sales on eBay or looking at OfferUp, there's tons of apps out there. There's Craigslist. What is everybody offering these items for? What is the general consensus? And I've found that that's typically based off of Pop Price Guide or based off of eBay sales. Popspedia is getting in that general direction, but again, I always have people point to Pop Price Guide or eBay sales. I just went to go buy a Renly Baratheon and the pops that I ended up buying, but the guy was like, I'm going off of eBay sales and it says it sold for $500, so I'm putting it for $500. I guess.
Oh man, I can't tell you how many times I have been faced with that same issue of somebody not knowing how to accurately quote prices off of eBay.
Well, I mean, generally, it's conventions, right?
Well, no, not even taking it outside of the realm of pop. It's not isolated to just our area of collecting. It goes outside of this. You could be talking about antiques, and you could be going to a garage sale or a flea market, and say somebody's selling like a Tiffany lamp. And they're like, oh, I saw this sell on eBay for $200,000. Well, yeah, I could post it for $2 million on eBay if I wanted to, but that's not the price it's worth. That's not what it's selling for.
Exactly. And I always point this story out to people. And if you don't know the artist, you can look him up. But
Prince?
No, David Cho.
Different.
So David Cho is like, I don't know, like a graffiti type artist. He does a lot of cool
Banksy
stuff. And kind of like that. So basically what David Cho did, and listen to this interview, is that he would paint things and he would go to sell them, and he'd sell them. He put them up for $35, $45, $55. No one would buy them at all. And then he said, well, F this. I'm just going to sell all my art. I'm going to put it for $2,000. So we go paint something. He charged like $2,500. People would buy it. And $10,000, people would buy it. He's like, oh my goodness. People just started buying my art for these outrageous prices. I just paint something and sell it for $20,000 or $100,000. And people were just eating it up. And he ended up painting the inside walls of Facebook in the early days and doing like graffiti and like art all over their headquarters. And they, instead of paying him cash, they paid him 5% of the company. And we all know how that worked out. So, but anyways, that's a great story of saying it's worth what people are willing to pay for a pop. So if Pop Price Guide says a pop is $700 and the thing doesn't sell on eBay or anything at all whatsoever, and you go, well, it was worth $700, but no one's selling it. I think it's worth $1,000. And you put it up and it sells for $1,000. Well, Merry Christmas. It's worth $1,000.
Good job on you.
And that's my point in all this, is that people can allow this to manipulate the market so much that it's detrimental to the collecting community. Detrimental to the collecting community. I can speak English. And what people use this as is they can use this as a tool to their advantage as well as their disadvantage. And I want to point that back out to Spider-Man. Another pop that always gets lumped in with that 2012 Spider-Man is the 2011 variant, which is the comic book Spider-Man pop, the number 3 Marvel pop. And they did a metallic variant of it in 2011, and it sells for around $800 to $900 right now. And they get lumped into that $600 pop. And what does that do to that $600 pop? It inflates the value. So now
I would be okay with that.
Well, unless you're trying to buy the pop. What if it was the pop that you wanted in your collection?
Then I'm going to claim it's the $50 pop, and I'm going to tell that person, you priced this wrong. It should be $50, not $900.
Good strategery, my friend.
I did good, and I just got a $800 or $900 pop for $50 because I bamboozled someone.
There you go. I don't think that the person. Well, maybe you might find somebody that doesn't know anything about
a grandma at a garage sale. That's who I'm going to trick.
There you go. And,
for some reason, that's this pop.
And grandmas everywhere, let this be a warning to you. If you
find a Spider-Man pop in a box, sell it for $900. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, just put it up there. As soon as people listen to this episode, they're going to mark all their Spider-Man pop up to $900.
Every single Spider-Man pop on eBay will be a minimum of $900. It doesn't matter if it's the one from the new movie. It's going to be $900.
Exactly. And I just want to get that message across this week, is that how dangerous it can be if you place all that value in there. And next week when we cover this Novice Series, we're going to give you strategies on how to price your pop, how to look for pop, how to get the best deals on certain pop. And we've covered that loosely, but most importantly, how to gauge what the correct price is for the value of your pop and when you go to purchase a pop. But just know that don't hold all of your value towards what Pop Price Guide says an item is. Always check with what it is selling on eBay, Craigslist, OfferUp, all the above, and then sort of manipulate that value to your benefit and say, well, hey, I know Pop Price Guide says it's here, but look at all these listings on eBay. I mean, people are listing them. One just auctioned off for $200 less than what it was. I don't feel right paying that. That's your strategy, right? I mean, basic strategy, but don't hold that value in there. And that really ties into the last topic of the week. And I know that I've always sort of jumped around the bush on this topic because of waffling and raffling and what it means. And I've put some questions out there to sort of feel the guide. I've asked people that are collectors that I've met, how do they feel about this? What do they think about it? And I just want to put a disclaimer out before I talk about this. I do not personally have a problem with someone who raffles a pop or waffles a pop. I don't have a problem with it. This is a free country. You do what you want. It's your decision whether or not to do it. I do not have a problem with you doing that. So feel free to do that. I don't know if Piper agrees with me, but I think we're somewhere in the realm of the same page here. We're not judging anyone, but I do have to point out the things and how specific things affect the community. Do you agree?
I am more on the side of I'm not going to judge somebody for doing it. My internal moral compass pushes me away from that, though. I can't bring myself to really participate in the activity. But I'm not going to sit here and tell somebody, hey, you shouldn't do that, unless you're just jacking your whole life up, and as we discussed before, forcing your children to eat canned dog food with mozzarella cheese on it because you had to spend $873 trying to buy a $400 pop because it's a good opportunity.
Exactly. That was on our Marco Polo this week. I did a huge rant about it, and I was like, "Oh, guess what, Noah? Daddy can't feed you real food this week, and we can't pay the mortgage because Daddy's chasing Headless Ned on Facebook waffles. So get out the Alpo and the mozzarella cheese."
You could just keep all that money together in just like a garbage bag, and then just eventually go and buy it for the normal price instead of throwing it away. That's just me. I'll just save up and buy it. How about that instead of gambling?
But it's just something I just finally just said, hey, you know what? If I can get great deals on it. And that's what leads me to the topic today. Because I asked everyone out there, and everybody says, hey, look, this is a great opportunity for people to win things at lower cost. And I agree with you. It is a great opportunity, and I don't have any problem with it. I know people that waffle. I know people that subsidize their collections with their waffle earnings, and they're not really trying to game people. They're just trying to build their collection off of it, and all of the above, right? I'm not, like I said, I'm not judging anyone, but I have to tell people what the negative is. And if you follow us on our message boards, our Facebook group, I poll the audience for these certain questions to sort of get a feel on how everybody feels about the pros and the cons. And I asked our listeners and group members what they felt the pros and the cons were. And the pros are always the pros for this. It's you can get items at a lower cost, and you can find items you really can't find out there in the wild, and you're paying for. You could win something for $20, right? That's the overwhelming response of the positive. The negative is kind of foggy, right? Everybody, we talk about the one general thing that stands out. Well, it is wasting money potentially, and you can get in trouble with that if you don't know how to handle it and you get out of control. Agreed. That's the one thing that's overwhelmingly on the negative side. But after that, it kind of gets gray. People are like, oh, it destroys the grail market, and it takes away for the fun of searching for these items, yada, yada, yada. And I'm not going to get into all that, but I am going to talk about the grail market. And that's the market that I'm in. And one thing that it does that not a lot of people mention is that because of, we talked about the pop price guide saying that the price on something, because of pricing and the exclusivity of these items and the limited releases, they're hard to find. And for the Alliance, I've got to go out and buy these things or try to get great deals on it. So our Patreon subscribers get a good deal on a grail that they have. And it's hard to find good deals on grails. I remember back in the day, if I could bundle 5 or 6 items up and the value was $500, they cut 10-20% off of it. That is not the case anymore. And let me tell you, I've been out in the marketplace. I've been searching for things, and I've had direct responses from people that says, hey, I can't do that because I've got a guy that's going to waffle these off, and he'll pay me 5% above pop price guide. And that's because a lot of the waffles have a general markup on them to not only ensure the pop and ship it, but, a general markup because they're going out and doing all this to get these pop to waffle. Now, what does that do to the market? What's the effect? Well, the effect on the market is that the general pool of grails that are out there for purchase decreases dramatically. And you've seen such a huge increase in waffles in the past, I'd say 18 months. They have exploded. They are everywhere. There are tens, if not hundreds of waffle groups now. And this is not exclusive to the pop community. The whole gambling aspect, legal gambling is what we call it. Loot boxes is what we called Gaming with Scissors. If you go check out the Gaming with Scissors podcast, nice drop there. We talked about loot boxes and how that's tied into gambling. Well, everything's a loot box now. I see these jersey boxes that people are doing where you get an autographed jersey, and depending on the hit, it could be more or less. Baseball cards, that industry has done this for a long time. And now, it's being capitalized in the pop industry. And people do waffles for mystery boxes and all the above. But all I'm saying is it becomes another level of what are we saying here, Piper? Another level of
horrible.
Yes. Perfect word. Another level of terrible horribleness.
Hold on just a second before we continue on this. Did you say that there's people doing raffles for a mystery box?
Yeah, mystery boxes.
So you're illegally gambling to legally gamble.
Well, I don't know.
That's what you're doing, right? So you're like, we're gonna give money, and then maybe someone that gives money, they're gonna win a chance to not know what they're gonna win, and then open it, and then it might be crappy and it might be really good. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Like I've seen a lot of the waffle groups and stuff. I've never seen such a thing. That is
that's not even just pop though. That's a whole bunch of things.
It doesn't matter what. I don't care if it's brooms like animals. You could win a box of dogs. I don't care what it is. That's the dumbest thing ever. I quit. I quit this thing. I'm gonna sleep under this table.
Well, tell us
my brain.
Well, you went to. I'm not gonna judge people too. You are despicable human beings. That's what you just. That's how you went. You went from.
I'm on a different. I'm on a different side of this. Yes, we share a very similar opinion. You are fine with it, but you are more. I don't want to say more intelligent, but it's common sense wise. It's a bigger loss than is a win, and that's your standpoint. My standpoint is that's fine if you want to do it, but you're dumb. That's what it comes down to, I think. Well, no, I'm not judging. I will say I'm not judging anyone on it. It's not for me, but it gets to a point of ridiculousness.
Yeah, and that's what I was getting to. This is my point. In the beginning, with the waffles, raffles, whatever you want to call them, in the beginning, there was a sense of purity around it, even though it wasn't the most pure things to do. But
even though it was illegal,
there was an honor to what it is, and it was well policed. It was to benefit the community, and I've just seen a change now. Regardless of, and I'm not pointing the people out that do these, because believe me, I know a lot of people that still do them, and they're great people. I'm not here to say that they're bad people or not. I'm just saying the general problem with it is that it convolutes the Grail marketplace. It makes it more difficult to find things that you want to find or to benefit other people. And just like sneakerheads or anyone else out there that collects things, this market has grown in a way that it has caused a lot of people to be disgruntled with the process. Now, don't get me wrong. I always love to say, but it was the only one I wanted. And those people, I learned something this week. Let me just say this. I helped somebody it was the only one I wanted. And I found out that they sold the only one that they wanted.
You got burned.
Here's my point in all of this. No one is without sin, for lack of a better word in this. Everyone's hands has some level of dirt on that. And that's what I want to tell people. In the Pop Collectors Alliance, we're not here to judge you. The only purpose of the Pop Collectors Alliance is to help collectors get the things that they can get their hands on. It's not to put wafflers at a detriment. It's not to throw Pop Price Guide under the bus. It's not to do any of those things. It's not to throw the toys on the floor at Toys R Us.
But it's me, Jeffrey. I've come for you.
But it's to empower collectors. And I'm not hating on flippers. I mean, I've told people this week, it's like, look, I don't hate on flippers. I have friends that are pure flippers. They're my friends. I don't support their act of flipping, but I know that they flip. And it's fine with me. Do that if that's what you want to do. My goal on the Pop Collectors Alliance is to get extra of everything so I can benefit the community at the end of the day. And that's how I'm going to end this episode is hey, if you want to waffle things, if you want to participate in that, it's fine. If you love Pop Price Guide or those other pricing tools and you think that they're the Bible, I encourage you to encourage them to be better at what they do because it benefits all of us in the end from some perspective. And if you're sad Toys R Us closed, you can join in us and one day we'll light the eternal flaming porg on fire in memory of Toys R Us. But the main takeaway from this episode is that it's vitally important for you to be informed of what goes on and the negative or positive effects of those things that happen. And with Pop Price Guide and raffling / waffling, there's a lot of good things involved in both of those, and I will be the first one to say it. But there's also effects that cause an effect, right? But it does something to the community or has effect on the community in a specific way. And I'm not pouting that I can't get these $100 grails. I'm sure I'm going to be able to find some. It's just gotten a lot difficult because of that reason. Because before, where there were maybe 10 waffle groups, now there's 100. And when there's 100 hands that are making a 30% markup sometimes on these items, if not 50% in some cases, if there's 100 hands in that pot, and more than that, that's just saying one person per group that run these things. There's multiple people that post things. So let's say if there's 500 to 1,000 more hands in that pot, you better believe that I'm going to have to wait 5 hours tomorrow morning to get my Hades. Close. Exactly.
Sorry.
And that ties everything together this episode because that's what we started with, right?
Yeah.
Because you were like, Hades, it's not worth it, bro. And you're right. It ain't worth it.
No, you can trade somebody for it. Trade them that glow in the dark Lucky Charms leprechaun that you didn't get.
Oh, yes. I'll trade that on behalf of Funko. I'll just say it will ship from Funko
Eventually.
ETA 6 to 9 months, maybe longer.
It was the only one you wanted.
But it's the only one I wanted. They're canceling things. So maybe they'll put something else up on the Funko shop. And all you guys today, I'm glad we got to talk to you on Friday because, man, Flock Jeffrey came out this morning. I think everybody got it. He's going in stores this week, so check out your Toys R Us stores as long as they haven't pillaged the whole thing and burned it to the ground pretty much. And they have enough employees that want to stay working there to sort of ride the Titanic into the ocean. But look for those, and hopefully we hear some news on Aragon this week.
Yeah, hopefully.
Tune in next week. I want to cover a couple things. Next week, we're doing the Novice Series. We're going to do How to Price Your Pop. Also, the special code, again, email info@popcollectorsalliance.com. We can do, what is it? Goku. I can't think of the words. Email us Goku and your name, and you'll be entered into that drawing that will happen at the beginning of the Cost Plus Shipping event. See us at Fan Expo Dallas, April 6th through 8th. We will have a booth there. Stop by, join in the good old fun. I definitely would love to see you guys out there. You can check out our shirts, the Patreon boxes, all of the above, and we'll have some pop there at good prices. Also, the Cost Plus Shipping event that I mentioned the code for is Animation Domination, and it will be next week, Saturday, March 24th, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Come and join in the great fun that we have every week.
Every week?
I mean, every month. There you go.
Every month. Every month we hang out in my studio and we give away old Gideon Jim Jam.
Well, unless we're in my studio and then I pixel Rick out.
Well, that's only happened once, and hopefully it doesn't have to happen again.
Yeah,
for everyone's sake.
I know, Pixel Rick. And then what's so sad is I went to Emerald City Comic Con and I was like, oh man, I got great internet up here. And then I get on and I Pixel Rick again 2 days in a row. So I just want to close out with the same old we do every week. Another shout out to Talkin' Pops. I know that I met with those guys. I need to contact them and help me and help us help them and collaborate and do an episode together. But also check out everything you can about Astro Panda Productions and the other podcasts we have on the network at astropandaproductions.com. And Piper, anything you want to plug?
Nope, nothing really. You can follow me on Twitter at GWS Rancor, but this show is more important than that. So,
and
com.
We need to get more people to like the Facebook page. We're shooting for 5,000. If we get 5,000 likes, if you find people to help us get 5,000 likes, I'm going to give away a mega grail. Not super ultra mega grail, but a good grail, good size grail.
Is it that San Diego Comic-Con Olaf? Please say it is.
Yes, and we'll burn it. No, I don't know. But it'll be well worth it. So I just want to leave everybody with a little song this week. But until next week, my friends.
Wait, is it for Hood and Belt Holes? Because that's what it needs to be.
But yeah, Piper wanted that song this week, but unfortunately we can't do that because we'll be kicked off. But we
couldn't afford the licensing for it.
Yeah, there you go. But one thing we can do is get YouTube videos and give a shout out to people that do YouTube videos because they're a cover. And hopefully we won't get a content flag on this or like a cease and desist letter. So we're going to leave everybody with a little special Toys R Us love. So until next week, my friends, I'm Rick.
I'm Piper.
Good night.
Good luck.